Lester coming off a loss at NIU, but regrouping this week to take on a tough Toledo team. Just kind of overall thoughts on last week and heading into Toledo.
Yeah, I was obviously disappointed, with the finish, of that game. Thought our guys played hard. I thought Reese, played his best game, in a tough situation against the number one defense in the league. He played well. He still had his moments, still had his 4 or 5 plays that freshmen tend to have that we got to get out of them, and and then couldn't hold on late. They put a nice drive together. We need to do a better job, tackling late, and then they pulled away in the last 6 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that, and we went 3 and out. We had one last chance, and couldn't get it done, and so that's frustrating. And but I was proud of Reese, proud of Tyron, 2 freshmen that I thought made big plays in the fourth quarter that we needed, and Reese did some things with his feet that show why we why we think he can be a really good player, and now now we're getting ready for Toledo, and they're fun to watch now. Their quarterback is a great player, and I'm biased towards quarterbacks, and he's the best one I've seen, and so it'll be a great challenge for us, and it's we've talked a lot about 2 years ago being in the exact same situation, exact same record, and going down to their place and playing really well. So that's what our focus has been.
If you had to characterize the overall state of your team mentally right now, how would you do it?
Pretty good. I mean, this has been a good week. The biggest thing for us is just figuring out, how we have to get better late in games. You know what I mean? Like we've had, I think it's 8 of 11 games we've had a lead going into the fourth quarter. Granted, not a 20-point lead, but a 3-point lead, a 7-point lead. We've done such a great job of playing, even through injuries, with everybody for 3 quarters, or really even midway through the fourth. And so we've been really, really honest. We've continued to talk, but I thought our biggest thing was finishing the last 10 minutes. Because I felt like at Central we handed them the game. This one, I don't think we handed them the game by any means. I thought we were better, and we made them earn it. Now, they had to go first, second, third down. They got it at 3rd and 10. He made a great throw up and over Asante on the sideline. That was a big play in the game. But we made them do it. We didn't hand them anything, and they finished the game. Like, we need to learn how to do that. That's the one thing I don't think we've done well. And that's the one thing Northern does really well. I mean, they've done it for a decade. They will close out games, and that's who we want to be.
What's the state of the team health-wise, particularly? Are we getting anybody back?
No, it's getting worse. If anything, Matt Falcon is out right now. I found out about 10 minutes before the game that he tweaked his knee, didn't feel right. Done an MRI, waiting on the results, I think today, figure out if anything really happened, So that was a shock, and I felt bad for Jarv, running it more than I wanted him to. He had started off really good, and we put Sean Davey in. Sean Davey does a really good job of the things we've taught him. He can't play the whole position. He can't do everything we need him to do. He can do a couple things here and there, so losing Matt 5 minutes before the game started was a major blow on our team. Now we got 4 running backs out, and so Leo's going to be a guy that you're going to see moving forward, and maybe Matt. I mean, we got to figure out what's going on with that. We couldn't put him in there. He didn't feel comfortable. Something was up with it, and that set a bad tone, right from the get-go of that game. And other than that, we got Keyshawn's out. He's got a lower body injury of the worst kind, and Anton might be back. He's probably a questionable. Stephen Clark's a questionable. Who else? Obi is probable. I would say Obi's probable. And then the only other one would be Trayshawn Howard. He's a probably, from just the last game. So I think at one point I think we're up to 22, which is just an unbelievable number. And the guys that are going in are fighting and playing against really good teams and hanging in there. And we just need to find a way to finish it. you know, and the injuries are what they are, and we got plenty of deep team to continue putting good players out there, and we got like I said, we got to find a way to finish it.
You touched on Reese, forgive my long-windedness here. When you talk about freshmen, at this point in the season, it's always, well, they've played 11 games, they're not freshmen anymore. He doesn't have that.
No.
Obviously, he's whatever it is, 4 or 5 games in. When you evaluate him, how often do you have to say to yourself, this is not a guy who's been here all season, and how does that play into how you evaluate?
You know, you do it on the big games. You know, on the big mistakes. Put it that way. You know, he had one run play that he pulled the ball. It wasn't a run pass option. He just pulled the ball for whatever reason. You know, which is something you do. I mean, he got caught up on plays and put one ball on the ground. You know, he had one screen that he came off of that the guy was there. You know, and just that's when you think about it. It's just when he's only playing his third game, you know, he's going to make some mistakes. Now, what he did do is he went through some progressions, which he hadn't done before. You know, we had a big third down where they dropped their corner, and he checked down to Anton on the hitch for a first down, and he hadn't gone through a progression yet. He had been checking number one. Coach Johns has to pretty much design a defense that his first option is open, and maybe he gets to his second, you know, and he got to his second, and he got to, you know, that one that he threw to Tyron on the backside and Keyshawn on the backside, though that wasn't his first read, you know. So that's the progression where you're like, hey, and then, you know, on the big third down by the goal line where he used his feet to go score, you know. So those are the things he brings to the table, you know, but yeah, when it comes to those mistakes, when it comes to that's a young quarterback out there starting his third game against the number one defense, and those are things he can control. Those things he can control. His calmness. He got banged up a little bit and he fought through it. I was proud of the way he fought through it, and he did. He made some big throws, you know, that he hadn't done yet, you know, and so I was proud of him. We need more. Okay, that's the situation he's in. Is you're playing, therefore you have an expectation to lead us on that last drive and go win the game, and he didn't get that done. But when you step back and look at it, he definitely is progressing.
What kind of week of practice did you have coming off, his best games in Bronco?
This week so far he's been good. He's been good. It's been he had a really good week of practice last week. You know, these have been his last two. The only week of practice that I didn't think he was all that sharp was Kent. When he came off of Central Michigan playing as poorly as he did, he was a little bit of a mess mentally, and he was trying to slow everything because he was going really fast in Central. Like everything was happening so fast. We were trying to get him to slow down, so he was trying new things in practice, and he was okay that week. And then since then, he's got kind of comfortable. His feet are slowing down. He's on time, and he's been getting more and more comfortable as we've gone. This has been a different week because there's 2 less receivers out there that he's kind of getting comfortable with, you know, and. So it's been a little bit tougher on him this week, but he's been doing a good job.
We've been going on Wednesday nights for the last 3 weeks. It's kind of nice I'm not shopping on Friday.
Yeah, you're not?
No. I'm watching.
Alan, come on. There's some good deals.
But just from what I understand, we're supposed to have similar weather to what we have today.
Yes.
44, sunny, you know.
Yeah.
So both teams have to play in the same weather, but do you think that might help us or hurt us?
I mean, we've been playing. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been through it all, you know. So I don't think weather will affect us a ton. I mean, we're talking about Northern. That was the craziest weather I think. Not craziest, but the craziest wind I've ever been a part of in a good way because it did not affect the passing game. I've never seen anything like it. A wind that demolished kicking games and did nothing to pass. There was like a ceiling about 25 feet in the air. That if the ball went past that, it was like a hurricane. You know, some of these punts I'd never seen punts do what some of those punts did. But now throwing it underneath that 25, 30-foot ceiling, I mean, the ball moved a little bit, but it was not. I mean, at halftime I'm talking to Reese like, hey, does it matter which direction we're going? And, he's like, no, we're good, coach. Both teams threw it both directions without it looking bad, you know. But, man, when that ball got past that thing, it was totally different. So it'll be interesting. We've definitely faced some of those things. We're playing early. That's probably a bigger thing from a coach's perspective is we're going to play at 11:30. And we haven't played – I think the earliest game we played is 3. We play 3, 7, or 8. So this will definitely be a get up. By the time you're really awake or you yawn that last time and you're on the field warming up, you know. So that'll be definitely something different. And we've talked about, we practice in the morning every day anyway, so that's not a crazy thing for us to be doing. But it's definitely different from what we've been dealing with.
What, the team eats turkey down there, or?
Tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. The day before, tomorrow after practice, we'll all sit down together and talk and say what we're thankful for, you know. And then Thursday is the day before game. I mean, we'll get up, we'll practice, we'll get on a bus, we'll drive to Toledo, we'll have dinner, we'll have our meetings, we'll go to bed, you know. So nothing really different on Thursday. But tomorrow is Wednesday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Wednesday will be the day that because school classes end at Wednesday at noon. So all our non-travel guys are going to be going home for the weekend to be with their families. So when we're done with practice, will be our last time to sit down all together as a whole team and do it. So that's when we'll do it, and it'll be good. And then they all have their plans for Wednesday night. I think Jarv's cooking, I hear. He's pretty fired up about it, you know. So yeah, I've heard we've had a lot of success everywhere we've been. At Syracuse, we did the same thing. We gave them that evening off, and some went to the like 10 guys would go to the Old Country Buffet, and then other guys would try to cook, and they'd have to try to cook. I say try, and I mean try. And they had a blast with it. They're all talking, I'll make this, I'll make that, you know. So they're all fired up about it, and the stories will be great on Thursday, you know.
How is John recovering from his injury, and what kind of role has he been playing on the sideline?
He hasn't been doing anything on the sideline. He's been upstairs. You know, one of the things we have a guy that was up there, a student helper that's been helping Coach John's read coverage, you know, but he's not a real vocal guy. So as soon as John got hurt, we put him up there, and he's been phenomenal. I mean, he knows this is what they're in, this is what we need to be doing. So he's been helping out a ton on game day as far as what they're doing and talking to Coach Johns about, hey, they're in this coverage, we need to do this. And because he looks at it from a different mindset because he's ran these plays before, you know. So he's been great. And really, health-wise, he's out of the sling now, and which is great to see. And, you know, we've had so many season-ending injuries that, you know, people assume that if and when we get chosen for a bowl, we're going to get a ton back, which is not true. But there are some. I think he'll be close. And I think Gio will be close, you know, Ricci. And those are really the only two that are non-surgical or, you know, we've had Bellamy had surgery the other day, and Tuck had surgery a couple weeks ago, and obviously Ginwright and Trank and all those guys. So, but we will, you know, it's good just to see him walking around working, sweating, you know, because when he's in a sling, he can't do anything. So he's now in the next phase of sweating a little bit, and I don't know the exact date when he'll be cleared to go. It'll probably be second week of December where he'll maybe be able to start doing stuff again, you know, and then we got to get him in shape. So it will all depend on which, you know, if a bowl game happens, which one it is and whether he can get back for that.
Hey, Tim, the Toledo 6-1, only loss has been to Ohio.
Yeah.
Kind of got blown out 38-10. When you watch that film, is there anything that you see that maybe the Broncos can take advantage of?
Yeah,
That Ohio did. Actually, the running game was
period. Yeah. I mean, they played great on defense. You know, they got to the quarterback. Ohio's defense hit the quarterback and consistently and had to, because they were having a hard time covering the receivers, and their offense creates all types of issues. The best way to try to slow Toledo down is to, you know, hopefully keep that quarterback sitting on the sideline drinking Gatorade and run the ball, and that's what Ohio did. You know, I don't know what the time of possession. I haven't looked. I had to be one of these, because every time Ohio got it, they didn't have a ton of huge runs, but they handled the ball the whole time, and their offense is very similar to ours. I watch any team that we play that's played Ohio. I watch because I know that's how they're going to try to stop us. We run such a similar brand of offense, you know, and I think they're number one in scoring. It's them or us, you know, and Toledo really. So yeah, that game was they ran the ball well. They played good defense. They got some turnovers, and they kind of kept you know, Woodside on the sideline, which was a huge key, you know. And but yeah, that's going to be the formula. We can't keep our defense out there for too long and against the talent that they put out there, and we got to be able to run the ball. And they're number one in the league in rushing Ohio now. We're number two. We've been kind of switching every week, you know, and that's our game plan every week, you know. And so yeah, that made you feel like obviously there's a chance because no one else has been able to, you know, get that going. Northern got running first half and then fell off in the third. And once you fall off and get that ball back to that guy enough times, just like all senior quarterbacks, just like ours last year, and just like was it Bowling Green's guy the year before that? You know, you give a guy like that the ball too many times, and you're gonna be on the losing end of that game. You know.
Well, yeah, we took a tough loss. You know, it was disappointing, but we just, you know, we knew we had to get back in the lab and work on some things. You know, a couple of things didn't go our way. You know, towards the fourth quarter, towards the end of the fourth quarter, we didn't get the stops we wanted to. In the last about 5 minutes of the drive, they kind of just ran the clock out on us. So, I mean, coming back in this week, we just knew we had to prepare a little harder. We went back to the fundamentals. Just as far as, you know, we didn't tackle like we wanted to in the game, so we just went to the fundamentals of tackling, wrapping up, running the feet, and just preparing execution-wise with our just our stunts, our schemes, and getting back to the basics pretty much.
Andre, Coach just mentioned, and I didn't realize it, but Stephen Clark apparently is a little nicked up. But you two anchoring the middle of the defensive line this year have been pretty effective. Can you talk about, because he came in late from Syracuse, what he's meant and what the other guys in the rotation have meant in terms of stopping the run and playing defense this season?
Yes, Stephen Clark been a very good help, and he's been next to me hand in hand, and he's just a dominant force that we was lucky to have to come and just play, transferring in. You know, we didn't know if he was going to be able to be cleared to play the first game or not at first, starting the season out. And luckily, we got him cleared, and he's just an amazing player to play next to. You know, with the rotation with the guys like Ralph Holly and Nick Matic, we really don't miss a beat when those guys come in and play. And just a dominant force that we have to be in the middle. We with us being young, you know, Ralph Haley being a freshman, you know, most guys didn't really. We face opponents, guys don't really think, you know, he'd be explosive as he is, and I feel like he was just remind me of myself coming in as far as a guy that just is eager to learn, play by play, even throughout the game. You know, he's asking questions and asking just how to defeat a block, how to get through players, and how to execute. So all those guys been a real big help to the inside.
We were just talking about you coming in as a freshman. It seems to me you weighed like 225, but you're much bigger now.
Yeah.
Talk about you know, you've been, this is your final season, but
Right.
how you've grown through the years.
Yeah, coming in, I was actually 215 as a freshman.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you
but
do now?
I'm weighing 282.
Okay, so
So-
you've got some muscle.
Yeah. Yeah, coming in as a freshman, being a lighter guy, that was one thing that I feel like really stopped. Was something that I had trouble with as far as like just being recruited. You know, a lot of guys saw that I was light and was wondering if I could pack the weight on or not. And when I came here, you know, that's the first thing they said was, you know, we're going to get the weight on you, no doubt, you know. And I'm like, well how? Because I've been trying. So yeah, coming in freshman year, my sophomore year, I had actually gained 25 pounds between my freshman and sophomore year. And it was just being dedicated to the team and, you know, eating and taking this extra snacks that was given to me. And just every time, you know, like even when I didn't want the snack, you know, it'd just be like, you know, I got to do this to get my weight up, to get on the field, to help my brothers out so I can play and be able to just stop people. You know, I didn't want to be, you know, the lightest guy on the field getting driven off the ball. So that was just a dedication thing that I had, and just eating more protein, just eat, peanut butter was a large factor. I didn't know peanut butter could play such a big role, So loving the PBJs. So just gaining the weight and gaining it the right way too. Still being able to move, still feeling good. And I gained it slowly but surely. And now I'm here, a lot of guys always, younger guys come up to me like, man, I can't believe you was that small, man. How you do it and everything. And it was just really eating, getting the 3 main meals a day, then having a snack between.
What would you say is your favorite food, and maybe what's another food that you didn't realize you liked so much before you started, packing on the weight?
Oh, well, my favorite food personally, I like oxtails.
Okay.
Yeah, I like oxtails, and I like to put them in a slow cooker with a little steak marinade, So that's my favorite food. But a food I realized I didn't really like was fish. Was fish actually. Before coming here, I had never ate fish, and I never thought to try it or nothing. I just saw it and was like, I didn't want it. So just coming here, meeting one of our guys that cook for us, one of the guys the places that cater to us, Maggie's, and I just talked to the cook, Chuck, and he was just like, "Come on, man, try this out, man." I'm like, "Nah," and I'm like, "Come on, man, it's good, I promise." So after that, it just kind of took off right there, and I eat fish a lot now, very often, and just it's a lot of different food, veggies. I didn't really like cauliflower at first, and then they roasted it, and I'm like, you can roast it? Like, I didn't even know. So I learned different ways to cook too, and that helped a lot just with like eating right and keeping my weight up and everything.
You've probably heard the talk about Woodside and that Toledo team all season. And how amped up do you guys get the defense to go out there and try and get after him?
Man, we pretty amped. We anxious to get out there. For us, it's like another rivalry, And we heard #1 offense, in the conference, and they are a dominant force on offense, and we plan to stop them and rise to the challenge. As the defense, stop the run and contain Woodside. He's a pretty good quarterback. He can throw the ball. He can run a little bit too. So we just plan to contain him, especially as a D-line. That's really our main job. Don't let the quarterback get out the pocket and stop the run. We plan to just execute and do what we do best and play Bronco football.
Andre, you were on the team 2 years ago when we were coming off losses to Bowling Green and lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
And we went down there just, like Coach said, almost the same situation, same record and everything, and knocked off then number 24, number 25 Toledo, and then ended up going to the Hans Bowl, et cetera. So it really made the season. Can you talk about, your role as a senior, talking to the younger players about we can do this, we can go down and beat these guys?
Yeah, just trusting, with the younger guys, I just tell them to trust each other and believe in one another. It's another game, it's a most important game because it's the next one. And no matter who it is, whoever we line up against, we're gonna play our hardest. We're gonna stop them. We're gonna stop the run. We're gonna force them to throw the ball. We're gonna make them one-dimensional. Something that our officers don't want to be. And just for the younger guys, just tell them to stay focused and believe in each other and believe we can do it because it's possible and we can. And I know we can, and we know we can.
What are some of your favorite memories from that big win over Toledo in 2015?
Some of my favorite memories would be just at the end of the game, looking up, seeing that scoreboard, a lot of people not thinking we could do it, just proving people wrong, and most of all, just the seniors just sending them out the right way, and I feel like it's a statement game, to show we are good and we can play with the best of the best, and just seeing there, sharing that moment with my brothers, defeating a ranked team. You know, and I feel like that's one of our biggest accomplishments we did. And then, you know, us that following year being ranked. So that's some of the moments I share with my brothers that I never forget.
Andre, this is, you know, once again, your final regular season game anyway as a Bronco. Can you talk about the journey from, you know, from where you came from and the decision to come to Western and now realizing that, I mean, potentially could be your last game?
Yeah. I came from a one-parent household. You know, my mother on disability with kidney failure. So being the second youngest of 7 children and using the football as an escape to just, when I'm on the field, I'm free, you know, free of my problems, of my troubles, my worries, and just playing and coming to Western. It was like not too far from home. Honestly, the distance between me and my mother and her being in the condition she's in was very important to me. And just my twins staying back home, so them two was also important to me, how far I was from them. Because just playing in the games and playing college football, pursuing that dream, I wanted them to be able to see it, you know, and I didn't want the distance to be too far for them. And I also wanted to be at a good school. And when I came here on my visit, it was the closest thing to family I ever felt. So coming here, talking to the coaches and even the staff before PJ Fleck, you know, made me feel like family. So, and then coming in talking to PJ and Coach Reynolds, that was my D-line coach at the time, and just being around the staff, being around the academics, talking to Jeff Stone, I felt completely comfortable, and it was like, you know, I belong here. This is where I need to be.